Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Jackie and this is Jackie is Making, a place where I talk all about the knit garments, accessories, and sometimes fiber festivals that I go to. And today I'm going to be breaking down my entire weekend in Seattle at Flock Fiber Festival. And I didn't vlog this festival, so I'm going to link a couple of channels down below that I thought did an absolutely amazing job, like taking you around, showing you all the vendors and all of their experiences. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna walk you through my purchases, tell you about the plans that I have for them, like what I'm gonna make for them, and just tell you a little bit more about my experiences and like insert some photos. So I hope that you will enjoy this format of video as well. It was my first time ever going to Flock Fiber Fest, so I really just wanted to soak it in and not be vlogging, but I am very, very excited to show you all of the things that I purchased. So for this festival, I have been wanting to go probably for the last year or so. And once I found out that Rachel from Rachel is Knitting and Leslie from Knit California were going, I was like, yes, like I have to go then too. I want to hang out together and have a super fun weekend. And that is exactly what we did. So I flew in on Thursday and then went home on Sunday. And I filled all of my days that long Friday and Saturday with everything that I could and that I wanted to do in Seattle. So Friday we went to Bainbridge Island, and that was so cool because you get to ride a ferry there. So we started off our morning doing Pike Place, like that whole farmer's market. We did go to one yarn store there, but then we walked down to the ferry, and the ferry took about an hour or so. So it was just so beautiful because on one side you can see the skyline, and then on the other side you can see Mount Rainier, and your ticket's only about $10 or so, and you can just walk right on. And yeah, you can either sit and knit or just kind of stand up and watch the sights and scenes. And so we did that, and then we walked to La Mercerie, which was a gorgeous yarn store. Oh my goodness, everything was like organized, so neat and nice, and it was it had like a very clean aesthetic to the store, but I loved how everything was curated. Like they had a whole knitting for olive wall, they had a whole Durera Natura wall, they had buttons on a table that were like organized so nicely, like it was almost like a tackle box or a jewelry organizer where all the buttons were in there. And I loved that because I feel like as a visual person, I could really easily just see them all out. And then, I did get a couple of items. I have one item downstairs. It's the book, The Victorian Cats to Knit or something, but they had one of them there, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cute. And then Rachel had the idea, like you could put sand in it and make it a doorstop, and I really love, there's one that's sitting in a window, and so I kind of want to make that for my new house, like have just like a cute cat sitting in the window. I think that would be fun. Like lots of people walk by my house just like on evening or dog walks, and so I thought that would be like a really cute home addition. So I purchased that book, and then they did have, like I mentioned, that Durera Natura, the yarn, they have the Ulysses yarn. I really want to use that. Man, that feels so good. But the color I really love is this burgundy shade, and they only had one skein left. So I passed on that, and instead I saw that they had Sonder Yarn Co. So my very first yarn purchase of the weekend was this Sonder Yarn Co. And this is their Sunday morning DK. It's a 75% BFL, like blue-faced Leicester. I believe that's how you say it. 75% blue-faced Leicester yarn, 25% Masham, and those are two different sheep breeds. And this is made in England. So this is the colorway French Press, and this is the colorway Sweet Tea. Let's see. And these, I loved like how woolly they felt. Like it's definitely obviously like a smaller brand. I don't know if any of you follow Sonder Yarn Co. on Instagram. They're a really fun brand to follow. I've been following them for a couple of years and just have been like admiring some of their colorways. So it was really fun to see it in person. And I was looking for some yarn to make into an alpine bloom hat. And so I loved the kind of contrast that this had. I loved that this is a very much so like cherry chocolate, really deep, but has definitely like more of those red chocolate, dark brown tones. And then this is actually like a peachy beige, I would describe it as. So sometimes in pictures it looks like a true like brown beige, but definitely in person it's more of the like peachy light like ballerina pink. But then with those like natural fibers mixed in, it just looks a little bit more muted, and yeah, it looks so good with this. And I've been wanting to make an alpine bloom hat. I see everybody wearing one. There were so many people at the event wearing an alpine bloom shirt as well, and it's such a gorgeous motif. So yeah, that is what I'm going to be making with this. And then later that evening, we walked over to the Lamb & Kid, and I did not make any purchases there, but it was just such a gorgeous store. It's very different in aesthetic. So it's kind of like, why is there 2 yarn stores on this island? But once you go to both of them, it makes sense that they would both like exist because they're so different from one another. So while La Mercerie is very much more of that like clean aesthetic, Lamb & Kid is, first of all, they like dye their own yarn. So it's just a little bit different. Like they have a whole dyeing process there. They carry their own yarns. And then like all the walls are this like deep, rich black. And then all the yarn in there, like they produce so many neons and just like bright, vivid colors. So I felt like they really stood out. And that was really cool to see. Like if you are a person that's looking for something like to knit on walks, like something really reflective, their neon oranges and yellows would be absolutely perfect for that. And then if you love those bright, vibrant pinks, I feel like they also do the neon pink in that really neon-y red-orange color really well as well. Those were definitely some of my favorite colors that they had. And then we did stay later on into the evening. Mitchell Wool talked all about their like process. They're based out of Michigan, and they have kind of like a very natural sort of aesthetic and just like desire to produce wool made in the United States. And they actually like dye a lot of their yarn with like things from their farm as well. And so lately they've been partnering with different yarn shops around the United States to like dye their nice yarn. So they talked a little bit about that and their collab with Lamb & Kid. And then we also watched a designer talk all about her latest book. So that was really fun. And it was kind of just like a chill day, getting ready to go into flock. And, like I was like, okay, I don't want to purchase too much this day, but just like wanted to enjoy the evening. So yeah, we rode the ferry back and kind of went to sleep early to get all ready for flock. And the next morning we woke up, we just had like a quick breakfast in the hotel, and it was fun. Like got to meet a couple people, got to meet Emily of Botanical Knitter, just the kindest soul on earth, and got to meet Nitty Natty. She was having like a little meetup, and we kind of ate quickly and went and stood in line. I believe we started heading over there around 9:30 because the doors to flock opened at 10 a.m. And so if you are planning to go ever in the future, I would recommend that. It was very smart to go a little bit early. And then they just like the crowd control was so great. I never felt like it was stagnant for too long. We were kind of like weaving in. We had a line that was kind of snaking into the event, but it moved very swiftly, and I felt like just like taken care of. And the Seattle Convention Center was absolutely gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Like for my work, I do quite a bit of like trade show type stuff. And so I've been into many different convention centers, and this was by far and away the most gorgeous one I've ever been to. It was like very modern, very tall ceilings, natural elements, like lots of wood, different like structures. You can tell they had sort of like art displays in different places, but it just felt like a gorgeous place to be into. And another thing that was really nice too was Leslie had recommended we book the hotel kind of kitty corner to it, and so that was really nice too. We got to just kind of quickly walk over. So once we got in, again, we were not in line very long at all, and we got in, and almost immediately people were coming up and telling me what, like, they loved my shirt and what kind of yarn was it made out of. That new green shirt that I had made out of Malabrigo sock yarn, that green was just, I feel like it's kind of eye-catching in the way that it was worked up. And so yeah, thank you to everybody who came up and asked me about it. It made me feel so good about the recent garment that I had made. And then also like just immediately getting recognized by different, like either me or Leslie or Rachel was getting recognized. It felt like every 5 to 10 minutes. It was quite the experience, but really fun and really special to meet some of you. Especially one of you came up and told me you had flown in from South Africa, and that was just so cool, so special. So yeah, again, thank you to any of you that I got to meet. It was wonderful. It's exciting to know there obviously are real people who are watching, who are my little viewer counts. Like, I don't get to see who you are. So thank you for coming and saying hi. It meant so much to me. But right away, when we walked in, we were like, okay, Sewrella had just released this home line. And we saw the night before that they were already selling out of colorways. And, you know, we knew they had brought a certain amount to flocks. We were like, okay, like, I think we're going to be all right. But, you know, like, let's just go to that one first, just in case. And as luck had it, right when we walked in, that was the first booth anyway. So it was perfect. And I just kind of had the plan to walk in. I knew I wanted 2 skeins, and let me see, what do I have planned for this? Oh, I actually picked out for this a gingham hat. And so I knew that I wanted 2 contrasting skeins, but I didn't really know what colors that I would want. And I've seen a lot of people lately doing this like blue and kind of chocolate-y combination. And yeah, once I saw these colors too, I knew that it would be so gorgeous together. But what's fun about this yarn line is all of them have different labels. And so I was kind of going through the booth, picturing like, okay, what is, you know, like, do I feel a sort of connection to either any of the colors or to any of the names? And for me, I love this brown is called Novel. I love to read. So I was like, okay, that's kind of like a special combination. And then this one is called Gingham, and I want to make that gingham hat, but it also has a really cute like apron, like cooking apron on it. And it just kind of felt like nostalgic and special. So these were the 2 that I landed on. And this yarn is so soft. It really does feel very good. If you haven't heard of this yet, this is a DK weight yarn. It's an 80-20. The 80 is a superwash merino wool. The 20 is a cashmere style nylon. I think it's just broken down like a little bit softer. And it really does. It feels softer than perhaps maybe a different nylon that I felt in a sock before. But what's unique about this is Sewrella is a hand dyer, and she has partnered with a more commercial yarn sort of production, and now she is making this commercially produced line as well. So I thought, like, this is something that I would like to try. It's something that I've been a little bit weary about, like, you know, I'm not just really sure like how I'm going to like it, but I thought it would be something fun to test out for you all as well, just since it is, as well as like such a big popular brand, and I just thought it would be fun to test out for all of you. So got that, and then I was walking around the booth, and she had a couple of colorways that were like specific for flock. There was one that was like a pink lemonade. It looked so cool. But I went and looked over. They had a whole like bookshelf of different colorways that are kind of recent, like they're retired. So how Sewrella works is they come out with different collections, and then it's one of those things, like once it's gone, it's gone. But I'm sure that they have a whole assortment of like misfits or leftovers and that sort of thing. And so one that I picked out is the vintage flannel, and I've definitely seen this on other channels before and just been like, oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. And so I saw it and I was like, immediately yes. Like, as you'll notice, I very much so have a color theme that I love. We're going into fall. I've also I've had like an autumn color analysis done, and so I love wearing these colors, but also I just get so excited for fall. So that's really my theme of yarn purchases here today. And yeah, I thought this would be like so good for myself for a pair of socks. It would also make a really good gift knit, like a male pair of socks. So really that's my plan with this, is probably socks, maybe a hat, but as it stands right now, I think it would make just like a really cute pair of socks. And this is just a 100% superwash merino wool. So that's Sewrella. Then, like right when I finished Sewrella, that was kind of my only plan. Now, I did have a note in my phone of like different projects that I had considered with yardages and that sort of thing. And so I had like a general plan, but I didn't have like a shopping plan. And the other thing too is for the first 2 hours, you're wearing a mask. And so like immediately it was like, oh my God, all these people, I'm meeting people. And you forget like how hot you get with a mask on. And so that was a little bit like, I was like, okay, I'm getting like a little bit overstimulated. So we just went quickly to a couple of booths. And then honestly, I think we went and just like sat down for a second, kind of got our bearings, got a breather. And then we regrouped, and we only had maybe about like 20 or so minutes to kill before we could remove our masks and just be like a little bit less hot. And so yeah, it was just like a little bit easier to shop once you weren't like so steamy. So yeah, then we went to a couple other booths. I'm trying to see what was kind of my next purchase. I think one of my next purchases was some more gorgeous kind of sheepy yarn. This is from Tumalo Fiber, and they're from Bend, Oregon, and this is their souffle base. It's a 60% non-superwash Cornwall wool and a 40% alpaca. And this is a sport weight, and it's in the colorway Tart and Alabaster. And in particular, I knew that I was looking for a contrasting sport weight sort of yarn for the Andrea Mowry, I'm trying to remember the name, the like quilt motif cowl. And I like love this poppy tomatoey red, and so I knew I was gonna buy something during the weekend that was that color. And once I saw this, I loved that it had some alpaca in it, so it's gonna be super warm, super soft. And yeah, I just thought that these colors looked so gorgeous together. One thing you'll notice about me too, I just love like anything that's like the really kind of sheepy stuff. And yeah, this kind of fit the bill for me, and I thought would look really gorgeous in that cowl. So that was these two. Another thing you'll notice today as well, you guys, I bought yarn for 4 different Andrea Mowry patterns. So I might be part of a cult, I'm not sure. I might need help, but it was so perfect to find yarn for these little sort of accessory things instead of buying yarn for garments. But it was still really fun because she creates these like really fun motifs. So I won't defend my case. I think that I was worthwhile in picking those out. Okay, so then I think I went to lunch and kind of took a break. and I was regrouping on really the things that I wanted. And I was going back and forth about whether or not I would purchase spin cycle yarns or not. It's so hard to decide because they're kind of expensive. There are definitely other color changing yarns on the market. I've worked with a couple of them and they're amazing. And like we have one local to us, Utopia. They make a gorgeous color changing yarn. I've also worked with Junction Fiber Mill, again, gorgeous, and they're a smaller business. I love using their yarn. But yeah, it was just like I was there and they had this gorgeous, huge booth. And I found some colors that I felt like were exact colorways that I was looking for. I kind of went in with the mindset of like, okay, I'm only going to get something if it's really the colorways that I'm looking for. And so for this first one, I got for the Nightlights shawl by Andrea Mowry, her newer shawl. And I picked out 3 skeins of the Dream State. And this is in the colorway Something Wicked. And it's a 100% superwash American wool. And this is stunning, like so right up my alley. It's teal, lime, light blue, brown, dark navy. And it's so beautiful. And so I picked this out. And then I knew I also wanted to make the Andrea Mowry cowl. I'll have all these patterns up, by the way. It has the fluff in it, but it's the color work. And I wanted to make this with this yarn that she had used once I saw it. So this is on their Nocturne base, so it's a little bit darker. And this is the sport weight, let's see here, 100% merino wool, non-superwash. And this is the colorway Thin Ice. I believe this is the same colorway that Andrea uses. And again, right up my alley. It's a really deep teal. So while this one maybe has a little bit more of those light icy blues, this one is truly the darker with burgundy, teal, a light teal, kind of like an olive as well, and maybe a little bit of rust in there. So gorgeous. Cannot wait for this. And once I picked both of these out, I was like, okay, now I have a dedicated plan. I need to find yarn to go with both of these. So I knew I had already been to the New Borough Yarn Company booth earlier, and man, she just does incredible. She for sure, like the colors that she's dyeing right now are Jackie colors. I loved every single color that she was producing right now. And what's funny is this is very similar to the Sonder Yarn Co. I got. I mean, almost like indistinguishable. So that's kind of hilarious. And they're also very similar bases, 75% BFL, 25% mid-brown Masham. So this is called Bare Umber, and this is a DK weight. And so you can see very much so I have a style. I have a preference. I clearly am obsessed just like with this color. And I just thought, man, this would be so gorgeous with these. And so yeah, this is gonna be my Nightlights shawl. And then I went on a hunt to find something to go with this for my other Andrea Mowry cowl. And I picked out this because I was like, oh, this matches perfectly. This is the Farmer Daughter Fibers. Oh dang, and this is just like a lace weight alpaca Surrey. Let's see exactly what you are. Oh, it must not say. Oh, here it does. 2.6% silk, 26% silk, 74% Surrey alpaca. And these obviously match so gorgeously. However, once I was back in the hotel room, I felt that sense of like, oh no, I messed up immediately, because since this is color work, you really should have something pretty contrasted, not matching. Otherwise, you're not going to see that color work at all. So immediately I pivoted. Let's see what I ended up choosing. I pivoted, decided maybe at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool, I'll be able to find a fluff to go with those. And then for this, I thought like maybe one day I'll make a tessellated vest. I love, again, Andrea Mowry. Are we sensing a theme here? I have seen like at so many different yarn shows, tessellated like samples, and every time I see it, I love it. So I was like, okay, if I have this, maybe also at Sheep and Wool, I can find some yarn to pair along with this and make a tessellated vest, since you only need one skein for the vest. So that would be something fun too. I could make a garment. And then I just have a couple more yarn choices here. One is from Red Door Fiber Studio, and I got to meet the owner, and she was just like one of the kindest, most smiley souls on earth. It was such a joy to meet her. And she had these really fun little minis, and of course this was like in my exact color palette, so I picked it out. And this is the Bounce sock. It's an 80/20 superwash merino nylon, and these come in little 20-gram hanks. And so I think I had some friends helping me look at different patterns. One is Rebecca Clow is coming out with a Kintra scarf. So she currently has a Kintra pullover and does like a 1x1 sort of color work with almost like stripes. And so it would be perfect for something like this, maybe to do a scarf. But I thought to ask if anybody has ever gotten an advent, or maybe you've gotten some minis before and you've made something beautiful. I would love to see what you've made, or for you to tell me like a suggestion, because this is one that I truly just bought like because I loved the colors and I didn't have a plan for. And then lastly, I was like, I think my husband was texting me and I was like, oh my gosh, like I've bought all this stuff. I kind of forgot that I had bought this vintage flannel. I think that could have been a sock for him, but I was like, okay, let's just get something. Maybe I'll make a hat or a pair of socks. Like I'm just going to go find a sock weight yarn for him, a fingering weight yarn for him. And I walked into a booth and they had, what is her name? Fangirl Fibers. And they had a Lord of the Rings collection. And I was like, oh, perfect. He loves Lord of the Rings. And this is the Osgiliath colorway. It's gorgeous, just like a hand-dyed sort of variegated yarn. It has like a very cream sort of base with some light kind of cool toned tans going through teal, oranges, golds. It's really, really gorgeous. And then what's fun about her too is she always has a little stitch marker on there with like a little picture of what the color name is, which is really cool as well. So I'm excited to like use that as I'm making my project. And I'm happy to report he was thrilled about this. Can't decide if he wants a hat or socks. So I did good on that one. And yeah, I'm just thinking of a couple of people that I got to meet I got to meet True Lane when I was picking that out, which is so fun because she's one of the first YouTube podcasts that I really loved because she just had such unique color combinations and was such a joy to meet. And then I also got to meet Yeji of Handmade Co. and she gave me some really nice little stitch markers. So that was just so nice. And I know Yeji is from the Seattle area, and so I'm hopeful that she'll get to go if I go another year. But just like one of the kindest human beings on earth. And yeah, I'm trying to remember other friendly faces. I mean, it's all the dyers too. Just so fun to like the faces that you see on Instagram, getting to see them in real life was just so fun. Now I'm also going to show you, I got some like fun pins. One is this Shelly Can pin. This is just like a fish with a cable knit sweater on. She had the coolest, like outside of the box sort of booth. She really went into this like fish theme, and I got some stickers as well. These are like all fish wearing knitting motifs, and then what she had them in were like these tin, kind of like tin pans with beads in it that looked like ice, and then the fish laying in there, so it looked like you were in the Pike Place Market with the fish on there. I loved the attention to detail. As a graphic designer, I was like, yes, you nailed this. It was amazing. So I got that one, and then from her as well, I also got this little snail that says Slow Fashion. I got a couple of stickers here. This one just looks like a vintage tattoo. It says yarn. Then I got this Diet Coke one. It says I took the miracle move on drug. It's a Taylor Swift lyric, but I like Diet Coke, so I thought that was cute. This is just care instructions from Spin Cycle. From the Doodles by Pacific Knit Co. This actually, they had the fangirl fibers in their booth, and for Flock they give out like a free little doodle. So this says Pearl and Heart. And then 2 more pins here. This one is from Red Door Fiber Company. It's yarn with 2 needles going through, and it says a quart of wool and needles. So I liked that, kind of like a quart of thorns and roses. And then lastly, had to get this one from Shayla of Black Pearl Magic. Again, such an angel on this earth. But this one says Faithful Gauge Swatcher Club. I've seen this one before in other people's hauls, and I was like, I need it. I'm a true faithful gauge swatcher. I needed it. So yeah, that was that. And this bag was 100% worth it. This is all I carried during the day. I had my Graf Lance like merino bag with me. That was perfect just for like my phone and my wallet. And then in here, I was able to put all of my purchases. So it was just like the perfect size. I was like, okay, once I'm nearing the top, Jackie, you should probably cut yourself off. But I just felt like it was such a good size, and it was perfect to carry around, comfortable to carry around all day. So if it's something that you're considering in the future, like depending on if you like the motif, for me, I loved this motif. So it was a perfect purchase. But yeah, I definitely recommend that. So that was everything for the Flock Fiber Saturday. Later on that evening, there was like a brewery that had an event for Flock that they had organized, and it was just huge, like 2 huge rooms with so many different people from Flock. And yeah, that was really enjoyable to just sit and hang and knit and like see people that you recognize from YouTube or like different places, kind of walk around. So just like that was a really nice kind of closing event for me, to kind of cap off my weekend. But yeah, so for me, it absolutely was like such a fun event. I'm so happy that I went. People have already asked me like, would you go back? I absolutely would go back. I hope that I can make time, or like travel plans or whatever to go next year. It was just like so enjoyable to meet everyone, to experience Seattle. The weather in Seattle was stunning. Obviously, you're right on the water, so beautiful. So I feel like the combination of what the city has to offer with how great of a yarn festival it is, with how good the convention center is, it just made it such like an ideal and good trip. So I highly recommend it, to anybody that wants to go. Okay, well, I hope that everyone is excited about all of my future yarn making plans. I am like good to go on yarn now. I have been already like excited about like, okay, what am I going to cast on first from Flock? I'm trying to finish out a few more objects, and then yeah, I'm just trying to pick like which one should I make first? What should I try first? And looking forward to the rest of my year. I know that I have Wisconsin sheep and wool coming up beginning of September. So like I mentioned, a couple of these items I'm looking to round out the project, like get the rest of the yarn for the tessellated vest and the rest of the yarn for the velvet mirror cowl. That's the name of it. And so for sure, I know that's going to be my buying plans for sheep and wool. And then maybe into next year, I'm also thinking about going to YarnCon again in Chicago. But absolutely big fan of Yarn Fests. They're so fun to just walk around. You see everybody wearing all the garments that you see online and on YouTube. And so, yeah, it like everyone looked so gorgeous in all of their hand knits. It's just like your people, like the things that people are talking about, what they're excited about. They're as excited to squish yarn, to see the sheep, to talk about like making plans, that sort of thing. Like if you're into this, you want to go to these events because it's just like our Super Bowl. It's our Disney World. It's incredible. So thank you to everybody who made the weekend so special for me. And I hope that I was able to like smile back and make it special for you if you got to come up and say hi to me as well. I think that is it for me today. I am going to figure out a way to clean this up, put these things away, and get to making. I know already that I have an exciting podcast episode for you next week because we'll have had a couple of weeks to make and update you on all of the things that I'm making. So I hope that you guys have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.